In my recent video, I visited the Philly Coin Expo. It was my first coin show ever, and as I was walking the room, something struck me, and it wasn't the silver, gold, or the notes that I saw. It was something else. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Empire Precious Metals. Thanks so much for watching. In my recent video to the Philly Coin Expo, I talked about my first experience at a coin show. This was the first time I've ever gone to a coin show, and there was a lot of things there that I wanted. And unfortunately, my budget only goes so high, so I couldn't buy everything and anything that I wanted. That being said, as I walked the room, I saw a lot of different silver products, a lot of different gold items, and a whole bunch of currency and notes and things like that that I was definitely interested in. But there was something else that caught my eye. What's your biggest seller?
The biggest seller by volume is going to be silver.
Okay.
Gold sometimes, depending on the spot price, do real well with copper rounds as well.
Yeah.
It just kind of varies from show to show. You get different environments, different customers, and they just like different things.
When I went to this particular table, I realized that there was a lot of copper that a lot of the dealers were selling. And it was a variety of items, whether it be little copper grain silos, if you know what I mean, bars, rounds, those different sized balls that you saw in that video clip. There was so many different copper products. And I didn't know if this was something that was the norm because I've never been to a coin show before, or if this was a new trend. And some of the dealers that I spoke to, they did say that more and more of their customers are starting to get into copper. And that got me to thinking about the recent price of gold. As you all know, gold continues to hit all-time highs. It actually has retreated a little bit now. It's in the $3,200 range. Me personally, I'm hoping that gold continues to drop because I would certainly like to stack more. And I know a lot of you that are into stacking gold would like to be able to buy some more gold at cheaper prices. But what I noticed over the last 5-6 years as an actual precious metals dealer is that some of the buying trends, especially over the last year, the buying trends of some of my customers and others that I've seen and other dealers that I've spoken to is that people are starting to buy less gold. And that's mainly in part due to the fact that the price of gold continues to stay above $3,000 an ounce. So while people continue to buy gold and they would like to continue to buy gold, the problem is that it's becoming a little too expensive for them. So what are they doing? They're starting to buy gold in smaller weights, smaller sizes. They're also then opting to buy silver instead. And as many of you know, silver has yet to hit its all-time highs since we saw silver hit all-time highs at $48 an ounce back in March. So there's people that say that silver has a lot more room to grow, and that's why people are buying silver. But I'm noticing people buying a lot more copper. Copper is something that a lot of you in the stacking community probably have seen people into, whether it be coin roll hunting, people buying wheat cents, people searching for the wheat pennies. Now, while I don't believe in stacking copper per se, I do think that there are some really good opportunities when it comes to buying copper. And what I'm curious about is if the price of gold continues to climb, and we've seen a lot of analysts say that they expect gold to hit $3,500 an ounce by the time of the end of 2025, will this mean that more people are going to be buying silver and copper instead, so that way they can continue to stack without having to break the bank? And while there are many things that affect the price of gold, such as economic uncertainty and turmoil and geopolitical conflicts, there's a lot of things that affect the price of silver and the demand of silver. And so there's a lot of factors that are going to be driving the prices of silver, gold, and copper up. And one of those things is that the United States is currently making sure that its national security isn't going to be compromised. Now, as you know, there's a lot of moving parts from trade to the dollar, but my focus is on materials, the bedrock of the United States economy. And without these different materials, the United States is going to find it very difficult to compete with China. That's why you've seen recently in the news the United States signaling that it wants to make a play into securing Greenland. And in addition, the United States has been working with Ukraine in striking up some deals on some of their materials. And that's why the president has signed several executive orders to secure copper production and mining here in the US. Now, some people say that copper is called the new oil, and it's at the heart of America's future, and I couldn't be more bullish about copper, especially when it's coupled with gold. Copper demand is surging while supply continues to try to keep pace. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 10 when it comes to the United States copper production. So here's some basic common sense supply and demand when it comes to my thesis on this, okay? Global mine production is expected to peak in 2026, with a projected 700,000 ton deficit in 2025 alone. Underinvestment in new mines has created a severe supply crunch. And like I said, this is the time to get bullish and inquisitive about the sector and metal. The US trade war with China has also disrupted copper supply chains. And China, which controls 50% of global smelting, faces export challenges. So the president's investigation into copper imports are aimed at bolstering national security. And it's the leading edge in worldwide revolution in mining. Now, this is precisely what the president's administration has been saying about copper. Howard Lutnick, the Secretary of Commerce, says that American industries depend on copper, and it should be made in America. No exemptions, no exceptions. The president has said that he imposed a 25% tariff on foreign aluminum, copper, lumber, and steel, because if we don't have it, we don't have a military, and frankly, we just won't have a country very long. The president also said that copper should be made in America, and it's time for copper to come home. The world is hungry for copper. So this brings me to today's sponsor, Giant Mining. Now, I've spoken about this company before, specifically about their silver and gold operation. However, they also have a ton of copper. So not only do they own a copper, silver, gold project in Nevada, but also recorded its best ever drill intercepts in September of 2024, with additional great results in the past few weeks. This company is the only copper company that I am bullish on right now. Also, on February 14th, Executive Order 14213 was issued and implicitly prioritizes copper as a critical resource. Nevada, where Giant Mining's copper project is situated, has constantly ranked among the top mining jurisdictions in the world, which is why I'm bringing this company to your attention. The balance sheet is now fully funded for its drilling programs this year, 2025, and it's also well positioned to accelerate its exploration efforts and potentially capitalize on emerging copper market opportunities. This is great news in my view. Now, the share price is down 50% since early February due to economic turmoil. So I am highlighting the company to you today for a reason. This is a tremendous discount. In the past 4 years, management and the company's geologists have actually expanded the copper deposit, and this past September hit their best ever drill hole. Now, they also have historic underground mines at the Majuba Hill project, where it produces copper, tin, and silver from the early 1900s to the 1950s, including, this is crazy, 2.8 million pounds of copper, 184,000 ounces of silver, 5,800 ounces of gold, and 21,000 pounds of tin. Now, I'll say this again, all of the factors and the following that I'm going to lay out for you are the reasons why this led to my significant bullish opinion. Now, I've spoken about this before when it comes to the infrastructure of this company. They have access to roads, the power supply, transportation, water supply, ore stockpiles, processing space. There's a processing plant there. So there's a lot more information. If you want to dig into it further, I'm leaving a link down below in the description. Now, I've said this before on the channel. I don't stack a lot of silver. I used to, but I don't stack a lot of physical silver anymore. And when it comes to copper, I definitely don't stack physical copper. I think stacking both metals can be a bit too cumbersome, especially copper. And some of the amounts that I see a lot of people leave in my comments and tell everybody how many ounces that they're stacking, to me, I think are a bit much. My personal opinion, I think that you should be all set with 250 to 500 ounces of silver, and then that's when you call it a day. Anything over that, I think you should be stacking primarily into gold. But when it comes to actually stacking copper, I think that that is actually a very, how should I put this, bad idea. I think that that's going to be way too much metal. I think if you're going to be getting into copper, there are better ways to do it. Now, maybe if you want to buy some numismatic pieces, that's fine. But when you want to actually accumulate a significant amount of copper and a position in your portfolio to this metal, I think that you should be looking to purchase possibly stocks or an ETF, etc. So that is my thought when it comes to stacking silver and copper and gold. So now I'm curious as to what it is that you are doing. In the comments below, let me know if you're primarily stacking gold, silver, copper, or all three. And I'm curious if you are investing in any of these metals on a stock exchange, or if you're buying ETFs or whatever the case may be. Also, let me know in the comments below, strike up a conversation. And if you found that this video was helpful, definitely make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and guys, I will see you on the next one.